This is the daily writing recorded, day 60, titled Uneventful Living. What more needs to be said of the life of Bertrand Fowler? Presented to the earth in the midst of June at the end of the 1800s, Bertrand experienced what most would call an uneventful upbringing. He had a mother and a father, attended school, played a variety of sports, tried his hand at a number of artistic endeavors, and dabbled in an acceptable number of women before the age of 30, when he married a most acceptable woman in the person of Betty Granger. She was of equal unremarkable stock, and would have had many a writer up in arms, as the pages of her life up until that point could be vaguely filled with nothing more than gossip of the souls living in the village of Esher, of which she discussed healthily, but never partook in. Together the couple created a decent life, with pets and children, who, much like their parents, traversed the earth in equal forgettable fashion. Bertrand came to the war all right, never quite seeing any action. Betty performed as commendable as she ever could, finding herself performing and sharing in the same agony and hardships as those around her. That was, of course, until Bertrand came home, and the others didn't. Their unremarkable lives suddenly turned remarkable, as Bertrand's lively presence starkly contrasted the black clothes of the many widows and distraught mothers, who eyed him with a manner of distrust and envy. Betty was ostracized from the circles she had once taken part in, and found herself more often than not, alone and sitting at home, with the blinds drawn, wearing her church clothes, unable to physically move as her panicked mind turned blank. Bertrand fared much better. A charismatic sort of person, he was forgiven for his existence and given a second chance to prove himself. That is not to say there was no manner of resentment towards his person, but those feelings could, with time, be brushed aside as he became an invaluable member of the village, filling in for those widows and mothers in whatever capacity he could. Betty's health rapidly descended into long periods in the hospital, as she began to lose touch with reality. The news of her passing was telephoned to Bertrand whilst he was in bed with the widow Young. He rushed to the hospital and filled in the required paperwork before he headed out and into the bed of the widow Moran. Betty's funeral was attended by her children and her family. Bertrand attended as well, with his mistress, Mrs. Fuller, accompanying him. As testament to Betty's life, her grave was modest and soon forgotten by everyone, as the dark days of her existence were eagerly forgotten by everyone, including her adolescent children. Bertrand went on to live and fathered a number of children with the widows in the village, which he, in testament to his life, abandoned when the truth of their parentage slowly came to life. He ran off to France where, according to the letters he sent to his children, he found and married the love of his life. His son by Betty experienced a troubled life in the village. He was raised by one of Bertrand's many mistresses, whom never forgot to remind him of his father and all his ill deeds. She had seen it as an opportunity to cleanse herself of the scandal his name had attracted, and cared for Bertrand's son as long as that held up. He, the son, was warned repeatedly by each and every one he met to never become like his father, a man he barely remembered. He was sent on his way by the mistress once he had served his purpose, and she had found another man, whose children she now needed to mother over. The son spent a few years out on the street, working day jobs wherever he could, ending up in a workhouse until he was old enough to join the army. He was moved to the Philippines, where he died during the war after contracting yellow fever. His belongings were sent to the mistress, who wasted no time to parade his death as her accomplishment, draping herself in black to mourn the second sacrifice she had made in her life, after her first husband, whom she had only met an hour before her wedding, had tragically died in France during the First World War. Betty and Bertrand's daughter went on to live with her grandparents for a little while, before she ran away to London to start a career as an actress and a writer. They were not horrible people, but they found little interest in raising another daughter, after they had fully intended on enjoying their child-free lives. They shared no warmth or any other kindness besides the one required through familial bonds, and were stuck in a religiousness which they imparted onto her, with the warning not to become like her mother and marry a sinful man like her father. The daughter found limited success on the stage and was forced to supplement her income by any other means, walking the dark streets of London for anyone to give her the time of day. She met many people from all walks of life, received many proposals for marriage and proposals for other sorts of things, but never accepted a single one of them. Decades later, and now, working as a nurse in a hospital, she received a letter from France informing her her father had passed away. The letter was sent by her half-brother, who asked if she was willing to attend the funeral. She agreed and took a boat across the channel, and from there the train to Toulouse, where she was rearranged with the corpse of her deceased father. She said very little during her stay and only attended the funeral, politely declining to reminisce and hear stories about her father from her other siblings. He had apparently fathered 4 children and had 6 grandchildren. They found out about his first wife and about her through unsent letters he had kept in a box. She declined to accept and read them, and told them that the man laying in the coffin was as a stranger to her as they were to her now. She returned to London the next day and spent the next few years wandering around, not doing anything in particular until the day she died. It was on a gusty day with dark clouds in the sky. Her hands trembled as she got into the little boat. Her hair darted around in the wind as the little boat was pulled towards the sea, and she, in a matter of minutes, was never to be seen or remembered again. Nothing more has been written or recorded. Thank you for listening, and good night.